Sun was falling on the Oklahoma plains. Dust rolled slow like an old freight train. Got a worn-out saddle and a heart full of years, riding through the silence and the ghosts I still hear. There's a picture in my pocket, faded black and white, her standing on the porch in that summer light. 30 long winters since I saw her smile, but tonight I'm headed back those 1,000 miles. This is my last ride to Tulsa, one more road before I go. Got 1,000 broken memories running wild beneath this old sombrero. If she's still waiting by that window, Lord, I pray I ain't too late for one last kiss in Tulsa before the heavens close the gate. Every town I passed knew my old name. Some called me a drifter, some called me ashamed. I traded love for highways and whiskey nights. Now I'd give this whole world just to hold her tight. Saw the church where her daddy said, stay away. Back when I was reckless in my outlaw days, I was young and foolish, too blind to see. The only home I needed was waiting there for me. This is my last ride to Tulsa, one more prayer beneath the stars. With these tired hands upon the reins and a lifetime written in these scars. If she's still waiting by that window with silver in her hair tonight, I'll lay my cowboy heart down easy in Tulsa's morning light. Horse keeps moving through the cold night air like he knows somebody's waiting there. Moonlight shining on this old dirt road, carrying a man with a heavy soul. This is my last ride to Tulsa, no more running from my past. If I make it to her doorstep, I swear this wandering heart will rest at last. If the good Lord calls me tomorrow, I'll leave this world alright, 'cause I finally made it home to Tulsa on my last ride tonight. Dust keeps dancing behind the trail, old cowboy fading like a lonesome tale. But somewhere near the Tulsa line, love still waits through the hands of time. Tonight the rain is falling on this broken desert town. Saloon lights keep flickering while the whiskey's going down. I found some paper on the bar and borrowed me a pen. Guess an old man's memories come alive now and then. You were barely 7 summers when I rode away, too stubborn and too wild to ever think I'd stay. I told myself I'd make enough to bring you everything, but all I ever brought you was the pain that freedom brings. So I write this letter to my sweet daughter, hoping somehow it finds your hands. Tell your mama I was sorry for being half a man. Every mile of this lonely highway led me farther from your heart. Now these words are all I got left from a father torn apart. I still remember braiding ribbons in your hair. You'd laugh and say, "Don't leave me, Daddy, promise you'll be there." But cowboys chase the sunset like fools who never learn, and some roads take forever before a man returns. I heard you learn piano in a little church downtown. Bet your voice still sounds like heaven when the choir gathers round. Sometimes I close my eyes and see you dancing in the yard, while I'm sitting here with memories and a weather-beaten heart. So I write this letter to my sweet daughter, with shaking hands tonight, wishing I could turn around and somehow make things right. If another man stood by you when your own father disappeared, tell him thank you for the moments I should have been there all those years. The bartender just asked me why I stare out at the rain. Guess he's never carried around this kind of pain. Some mistakes follow a man wherever he may go, like shadows in the moonlight or footprints in the snow. So I write this letter to my sweet daughter one last time before I sleep. If the angels let me see you, I'd probably break down weak. But I hope you know I loved you, even when I lost my way. And every prayer I whisper still carries your sweet name. There's an old pair of boots by the bedroom wall, covered up in dust since the leaves began to fall. Mama says don't touch them, they still carry pain, but I wear them every winter when the cold rolls in again. I was barely just a boy when the news came down. Sheriff rode his horse straight through our little town. Hat held low and silence in his eyes. That's the day my childhood died. He was lost in a gunfight underneath that western sky. One shot echoed through the darkness, and my hero said goodbye. Now I walk these ranch roads lonely, trying hard to make things right, still chasing after shadows of the man lost in a gunfight. Daddy used to tell me, son, stand tall and proud. A good man don't back down when life gets loud. He worked those cattle fields with worn out hands, trying to build his dreams upon this land. But whiskey and trouble found him one bad night. Cards on the table turned into a fight. By sunrise all the town bells cried, and Mama broke down by my side. He was lost in a gunfight near the old saloon downtown. Now his boots keep carrying memories across this broken ground. I still hear his laughter blowing through the Oklahoma pines, like the West itself remembers the cowboy I lost in time. Sometimes anger burns inside my chest, makes a young man crave revenge and rest. But Mama says forgiveness heals the soul, even when the pain won't let you go. He was lost in a gunfight, but his spirit rides with me. Every sunset on the prairie feels like his ghost running free. And someday when they lay me down beneath that western light, I'll leave beside my resting place the boots lost in that gunfight. There's a cold wind blowing through the town tonight. Dust rolls heavy beneath the moonlight. Old Red Creek ain't been the same since they carved John Carter's name. Little white church on the edge of town, black dressed woman still walking around every morning by the railroad line, like she's waiting to turn back time. She's the widow of Red Creek, living with a broken soul. Ever since that cowboy left her riding through the cold. Now the porch light keeps on burning, though the years keep passing by, and every tear she hides away still falls for him at night. rough around the edges, wild and free. Best damn rider this town had seen. Worked those cattle fields from dawn till dark, with her sweet name carved into his heart. Then one stormy evening trouble came. Gun smoke thundered through the rain. A land dispute turned mean and fast, and one young cowboy breathed his last. Now she's the widow of Red Creek, sleeping alone each night, holding on to memories in his jacket pulled up tight. People say she ought to move on, find somebody new somehow, but some loves stay forever, even when they're gone. Every Sunday she brings flowers to the cross beneath the hill, and talks to him for hours like he's listening still. Sometimes when the prairie wind blows slow, she swears she hears him whisper low. She's the widow of Red Creek, but her heart still wears his name, and every sunset paints the sky like a fire she can't tame. When they lay her down beside him underneath the western sky, they'll finally ride together where love never dies. Snow came falling hard across the mountain trail, cold wind screaming like a lonesome ghost in hell. We were 5 old drifters chasing work out west, laughing by the fire, thinking we were blessed. Jake played the fiddle while the whiskey made its rounds. Billy told stories that could light up any town. Now the silence cuts deeper than the winter cold, 'cause I'm the only one who made it down that road. Now it's a campfire for one shadow in the night, one cowboy talking to the flames, trying hard not to cry. Those old voices still echo every time the north wind blows, and this fire keeps burning for the brothers I lost in the snow. River froze solid near the canyon bend. That's where the storm finally did us in. One by one the horses gave out slow, and fear settled deep beneath the falling snow. I still see Jake reaching through the white, saying, "Brother, keep riding through the night." But the cold takes men like the devil takes souls, and leaves the living carrying all the ghosts. Now it's a campfire for one, no laughter anymore, just an old guitar and memories of the friends I knew before. Every spark up in the darkness feels like heaven letting go, and this fire keeps burning for the brothers I lost in the snow. Sometimes I swear I hear them singing low in the crackling flames and the drifting smoke. Baby, lonely man ain't ever truly gone as long as somebody remembers their songs. Now it's a campfire for one, but I still leave 4 chairs around, one for every cowboy brother who never made it down. And when my final winter finds me somewhere beneath the cold, I hope they save a place beside them beyond the snow and smoke. Sunburn holes through the desert sky, buzzards circling way up high. I was bleeding bad from a border fight, half dead drifting through the night. Sand kept blowing across my face, I could feel death getting close that day. But through the dust and the blazing heat, one faithful shadow stayed with me. She was a horse named Mercy, strong as the western wind. When the whole world left me dying, she stayed right by my skin. Through the thirst and through the darkness, across that endless sea of sand, I'm alive tonight because Mercy never stopped believing in this man. My canteen dried up 2 days before, boots torn open and my body sore. I told that horse girl, just leave me here, but she pressed her nose against my tears. Every mile she pulled me slow, through places no man should ever go. And when I fell beneath the burning sun, she stood beside me till the night had come. She was a horse named Mercy, braver than most men alive, carrying all my broken pieces, just trying to keep me alive. And every prayer I whispered seemed to rise up through the sand, while Mercy kept on walking, like heaven held the reins in her hands. Then one cold morning, through blurry eyes, I saw a church beneath the sunrise. Town folks ran when they heard her cry. Guess even angels can ride sometimes. She was a horse named Mercy, and I owe her all these years. Now she rests beside the prairie, where the grass grows soft and clear. And every time the wind blows gently across this weathered land, I still thank God for Mercy, the horse who saved a dying man. Train rode slowly into Abilene. Same old church and the fields still green. I carried your picture inside my coat, through every battle and every smoke. Had your last letter tucked near my chest, saying come home soon and we'll finally rest. But the moment I stepped onto that old dirt land, I heard somebody say, Rosie married another man. Rosie, you married another man while I was fighting in a foreign land. I came home wearing scars and pain, just to watch your name change. Now the jukebox plays our old song slow, and every whiskey burns my soul. Guess some promises don't always stand. Rosie, you married another man. Saw you Sunday outside the store, little gold ring I ain't seen before. You smiled softly, but your eyes turned gray, like part of you still wished I stayed. You said I waited as long as I could. Lord knows I hoped you'd come home for good. But war's steal more than blood and time. Sometimes they steal the love a man thought was mine. Rosie, you married another man, built your life while I held a gun in my hands. I don't blame you for moving on, but it hurts knowing I came home wrong. Now every sunset cuts right through, like the memory of loving you, and this cowboy heart can barely stand, knowing Rosie married another man. Tonight I'm riding westbound alone, no town left that still feels like home. Just me, my horse, and the desert sky, trying to outrun one last goodbye. Rosie, you married another man, and I finally understand. Love can fade while soldiers fight, beneath cold stars and endless nights. So I'll tip my hat and let you go, though breaking free hurts more than you know. And somewhere out beyond this land, a lonely cowboy still loves you, Rosie. Sheriff's posters hanging in every town, saying dead or alive, they're hunting me down. Got $6 left and blood on my name. Too many nights lost to whiskey and shame. But buried beneath my coat so warm, is the only thing I kept from home. Mama's old Bible wrapped in leather brown, still carrying her prayers around. There's a Bible in my saddlebag and a lifetime full of sin. Every dusty road I ride feels like judgment closing in. Mama said, son, don't lose your soul chasing things that never last. Now I hold her words tighter while running from my past. I was 16 when I rode away, thinking freedom meant no chains. Fell in with gamblers, thieves and guns. By 25 I was already done. Saw too many good men laid to rest, too many mothers dressed in black. Now every time that cold wind blows, I hear Mama's voice down deep below. There's a Bible in my saddlebag pressed against my side tonight, like heaven's trying hard to save me from the darkness in my life. And every page still smells like home, like the farm where I was raised before I traded peace and love for outlaw days. Last night beside the fire alone, I read the words she underlined in gold. Even lost souls can still be found. Lord, I hope that's true right now. There's a Bible in my saddlebag and tears in these tired eyes. I ain't asking God for riches, just a place where I can hide. And if tomorrow finds me buried beneath this western rain, lay Mama's Bible on my chest so she can guide me home again. Woke up before the sunrise glowed, pulling cattle through the Texas cold. Hands full of rope and boots full of dust, trying to survive because a man simply must. But every night beneath the stars, he'd pull that old guitar from the barn, sing songs louder than the prairie wind, dreaming of a life beyond the fences he was in. He was the boy from Amarillo with a fire down deep in his soul, singing to the moonlight while the longhorns wandered slow. Everybody said, boy, be realistic, this ranch life's all you'll ever know. But dreams grow wild in Texas hearts like tumbleweeds in the road. Daddy wanted him working the land, not chasing songs with a traveling band. Said music won't feed a family, son. Dreamers end up broken and drunk. But Mama heard him singing low while washing clothes by the kitchen stove. She'd smile and whisper soft at night, some people are born to chase the light. He was the boy from Amarillo, writing songs inside his head, turning pain into melodies every lonely mile he led. And every little roadside bar felt like heaven to his soul, while cowboys laughed and tipped their hats to the kid with country gold. One cold evening at the county fair, he climbed on stage nervous and scared, but when he sang the whole room stood still, like Texas itself could finally feel. Now he ain't just the boy from Amarillo, his songs drift through every town, from old jukeboxes in Nashville bars to radios all around. Still wearing those same old dusty boots, still carrying where he came from. 'Cause no matter how far a cowboy rides, Texas stays inside his blood. Morning came quiet on the edge of the farm, church bells ringing low through the dark. Two boys standing in their Sunday black, watching their daddy being lowered back. Mama held tight to a worn-out hat, the same one Daddy always had. And the preacher spoke while the cold wind cried beneath that Texas sky so wide. Now there's a grave under the cottonwood tree, where Daddy said he'd always be, watching over this broken land through the dust and the shifting sand. And me and my brother made a promise that day, no matter the price, no matter the pain, we'd never sell these fields he loved, still growing strong beneath the sun. Daddy spent 40 years breaking this ground, fixing fences when no one else was around. Hands rough as leather, heart pure gold, teaching two boys what matters most. He'd say, land ain't money, son, understand. It's blood and sweat passed hand to hand. Now every sunset hits different somehow, since they laid him beneath those branches down. There's a grave under the cottonwood tree, and every mile of this family legacy still carries his voice through the wind at night, telling us to stand and fight. Developers came with fancy suits, talking dollars and concrete routes. But this dirt means more than gold to me, because Daddy still rests beneath that tree. Some nights my brother and I sit there alone, talking to the man we wish would come home. And when the prairie wind blows soft and slow, it feels like his spirit still won't let go. There's a grave under the cottonwood tree, and one day that's where they'll bury me, beside the man who built this life with calloused hands and sacrifice. And long after we're all gone someday, these fields will still remember his name, as long as that old tree stands free. Daddy's love will live in this family. Snow kept falling on the Cheyenne tracks when I tipped my hat and never looked back. Young and reckless with a heart untamed, thinking the whole wide world would know my name. You stood crying in that winter light, hands trembling underneath the night. Said don't let those wild roads steal your soul, but I chased the wind instead of home. She was the girl I left in Cheyenne, standing in the cold that night, while I rode off chasing freedom beneath the pale moonlight. Now every saloon song haunts me, every whiskey burns again, 'cause no matter where this cowboy runs, he can't outride Cheyenne. Years roll by like runaway trains through dusty towns in endless rain. I fought in bars and slept alone, with no real place to call my own. But every time the winter came, I still heard somebody whisper your name. And every snowfall on the western plains carried me back to Cheyenne again. She was the girl I left in Cheyenne, with blue eyes soft as spring, and I traded love for lonely roads like a fool chasing dreams. Now the jukebox plays our old song slow in every bar I walk in, and somewhere deep inside my chest, Cheyenne still lives within. Last night I passed that old town sign for the first time in a long, long time. Saw your house, but the lights were gone. Guess some hearts wait only so long. She was the girl I left in Cheyenne, and losing her became my curse. No gold or glory on this earth could ever fill that hurt. So if you see a tired old cowboy riding through the freezing rain, he's probably still searching for the girl he left in Cheyenne. Dust rolled heavy through the dead-end street. Two men standing 30 yards apart in the heat. Sheriff's star shining on a worn-out chest. Outlaw coat blowing in the desert wind. Old town hiding behind locked doors, waiting for the sound of another war. But neither man could pull too fast, 'cause both saw ghosts from the past. And there was one bullet left between the law and a life of sin. One bullet left for two boys who once were friends. Used to fish that river barefoot back when the world was small. Now one wears a badge of silver, and one's the most wanted of all. Sheriff said, "Billy, don't make me shoot." Outlaw laughed through a mouth full of truth. Funny how time can turn boys into this. You chasing justice, me running from it. They remembered summers down by the tracks, stealing apples and talking about the future they'd have. Never dreamed life could tear apart two young brothers of the heart. Still one bullet left, and the whole town held its breath. One bullet left, and neither man wanted death. But the West was built on choices, and some scars never mend. Now the line between good and evil look thinner than it did back then. Wind blew silence through the street, both men shaking on their feet. Then the outlaw slowly dropped his gun, said, "I'm tired of what I've become." But somewhere from a rooftop high, a hidden rifle split the sky, and Billy fell into the dust before the sheriff could even run. Now there's one bullet left, lying cold there in the sand, and the sheriff crying helpless, holding his dying friend's hand. Billy whispered, "Don't you blame yourself. We were just boys chasing dreams." Then the desert wind grew quiet by the edge of Abilene. There's an old saloon on the edge of town, where the dust hangs thick and the sun burns down. Broken windows and a flickering light, still glowing softly every night. Old man Carter sits by the keys, playing songs like memories for empty tables and whiskey stains in a town forgotten by the trains. And the old saloon piano still sings through the night for the cowboys and the drifters who vanished with time. Every note sounds lonely, like a ghost calling home in this dying western town, where he now plays alone. Back in the days when the gold mines ran, this place was loud with working men. Boots would stomp and glasses rise, while lovers danced beneath the lights. Now the barbershop's boarded shut, church bell cracked and covered in rust. But every evening at 9:30, that old piano still comes alive. And the old saloon piano knows every broken soul, every heartbreak, every outlaw who never made it home. And the songs keep floating softly through the smoke and faded walls, like the town itself refuses to completely fall. Some nights a traveler passing through stops and listens for a song or two, then asks the old man why he stays. He just smiles and softly plays. 'Cause the old saloon piano ain't just wood and broken strings. It holds the souls of dreamers and all the lost western kings. And when old Carter finally leaves and heaven calls his name, that piano will keep echoing long after he's gone away. Woke up this morning in a cheap motel, neon buzzing like a highway spell. Another town I won't remember long, another place where I don't belong. Coffee black and boots worn thin, same old road calling me again. I keep telling myself I'll settle down, but the wind keeps pulling me town to town. I'm just a cowboy without a home, drifting where the cold wind blows, sleeping under western skies with nowhere left to go. Every bar stool knows my story, every highway knows my name. But no matter where this cowboy rides, life still feels the same. Worked ranches from Texas to Cheyenne, breaking horses with these rough old hands. Met good folks and left too soon, always chasing another moon. Fell in love once down in Santa Fe, but I rode off anyway. Guess some hearts get too used to goodbye to ever stop and build a life. I'm just a cowboy without a home, trying hard to outrun ghosts. Every sunset feels beautiful, but lonely most. And every little church bell ringing makes me wonder what I missed while I traded roots and love for a life like this. Sometimes at night by the fire alone, I imagine a porch I could call my own. Someone waiting by the door, giving me a reason to ride no more. Still a cowboy without a home, but maybe someday down the line I'll find a quiet piece of land and finally leave this life behind. Till then I'll keep on riding through the rain and through the cold, searching for the one place where my restless soul can grow old. She danced every night beneath a lantern light in a border town that never slept at night. Men threw dollars while the whiskey poured, but her heart felt emptier than the saloon floor. Then one cold evening through the swinging door walked a cowboy she ain't seen before. Dust on his boots, blood on his hands, eyes carrying storms no one could understand. She was Rose from El Paso, wild as the desert wind, and he was an outlaw cowboy, trying hard to outrun his sins. But somewhere between the music and the smoke hanging low, two broken hearts found heaven down in El Paso. He'd sit each night in the corner booth, quiet as a man hiding truth, while Rose kept singing those sad old songs like she knew exactly where he belonged. One night he whispered, "I can't stay long. Cher's been tracking me for months now." She touched his hand and softly smiled. Sometime lost souls just need somebody a while. Oh, Rose from El Paso fell hard for a wanted man, while the whole town kept on warning, this love won't ever stand. But love don't care for danger or the law chasing shadows down. Sometimes hearts burn brightest in the darkest towns. Then the sirens came one midnight late. Horse hooves thundered by the gate. He grabbed his gun and told her run, but Rose stayed standing in the smoke and dust. Now they tell stories in El Paso about the girl dressed in red who rode away beside her outlaw while bullets flew overhead. Some say they crossed the border, some say both were gunned down slow, but legends never really die down in El Paso. Sun goes down on the old farm slow, cornfields swaying in the evening glow. One old man sitting on the porch alone, listening to the silence where laughter used to roam. There's an empty rocking chair beside his own, still creaking softly like it ain't moved on. Mama used to sit there every night, wrapped in a blanket beneath the fireflies. Now it's just the empty rocking chair, memories floating through the air. Children grew up and chased city lights, leaving this old ranch far behind. And every sunset hurts a little more as he stares down that gravel road, waiting for headlights that never come to the place they once called home. Pictures hanging dusty on the wall, little cowboy boots lying down the hall. He remembers baseball in the yard, Christmas songs and homemade cards. Now his sons wear suits in Dallas town, his daughter barely comes around, calls on Sundays when she gets the time, saying, Daddy, we'll visit sometime. But it's still the empty rocking chair beside him in the cooling air, beside him in the cooling air, holding on to 40 years, holding on to 40 years of love and loss and silent tears. And sometimes he swears he hears their voices running through the old backyard, like ghosts of better days still living inside his tired heart. Last night he walked out to the barn ran his hands across the wood-worn heart and whispered low beneath the moon, "Who's keeping this land worth losing you?" Now the empty rocking chair keeps rocking in the midnight breeze, like Mama's spirit never left, you're watching over everything. Maybe one day when he's gone, his children will finally see their roots were always waiting here beneath these old oak trees. Moonlight falling on the desert sand, blood on the ground and shaking hands. Horse ran off after the gunshots came. Now I'm crawling through the dust and pain. Got 7 miles left to my old front gate, but death's been walking beside me all day. Cold stars hanging high above, while I chase one final glimpse of love. I'm 7 miles from heaven and running out of time, trying to make it home tonight before I close my eyes. Mama's porch light in the distance feels like an answered prayer. If I can just hold on till sunrise, maybe peace is waiting there. I can still hear Daddy's old advice: son, don't waste your whole damn life. But I spent mine chasing fights and gold, till this lonely world turned cold. Now every breath cuts like a knife, and every memory feels alive. Little sister laughing by the creek, the woman who once believed in me. Still 7 miles from heaven, with the devil at my back, trying hard to outrun regret on this endless desert track. And every mile feels heavier, like chains around my soul. But somewhere near that old ranch house is the only peace I know. Then I saw the sunrise starting slow, golden light across the road, and through blurry eyes and desert rain, I saw Mama standing there again. Now I'm 7 miles from heaven, but I ain't afraid to go, 'cause home was all I ever needed, more than fame or gold. And if I fall before that front porch, Lord, let my spirit understand that a broken cowboy finally found his way back home again. 18 when we made our plans, sitting by the river with our fingers in the sand. You said one day we'll leave this dusty town, find a place where life don't drag us down. I still remember moonlight in your hair, old silver spurs and the dreams we shared. Two wild hearts trying to believe there was something more beyond these fields. Silver spurs and broken hearts, that's what this old story was. Two young lovers chasing freedom underneath the stars above. But life don't always follow dreams, no matter how hard you hold on. Sometimes one soul finds the highway while the other gets left behind alone. I got work down south near Santa Fe. You kissed me softly the day I rode away. Said save enough and come back soon, I'll be waiting here for you. But a letter stopped somewhere in the rain, and years rolled by like runaway trains. When I finally came back through our town, there was a wedding ring on your hand now. Silver spurs and broken hearts still echo through my mind. You were dancing with another man while I stood there lost in time. Guess dreams fade like old photographs when the waiting takes too long, and some loves die slowly to the sound of goodbye songs. Last night I found our old oak tree where we carved our names at 17, still standing strong after all these years, unlike us and all our fears. Silver spurs and broken hearts, that's all this cowboy owns. A pocket full of memories and roads that lead nowhere home. But somewhere in another lifetime, maybe things worked out alright. Maybe we escaped together into that western night. He rode into town on a cold spring day, Bible in his hand, dust on his face. Little white church by the railroad line needed a preacher for the troubled times. Nobody asked where he came from then, why his eyes looked heavy beneath the brim. They just saw a man with a quiet soul, trying to help a town worn down and cold. He was the preacher and the gunman, a holy man with blood-stained hands. Sunday mornings preaching mercy while hiding who he used to be. And every prayer beneath that steeple felt like a war deep inside, between the outlaw he once was and the man now trying to survive. Widows cried while he read God's word. Children smiled every time they heard his gentle voice talking about grace, like heaven still had room for mistakes. But late at night when the moon hung low, he'd clean an old revolver slow, remembering every man he'd lost back when his soul had no cross. Still the preacher and the gunman trying hard to bury his past, but some sins ride beside a cowboy long after the bullets passed. And every time the church bells echoed through that sleepy western town, he prayed the Lord could somehow save a man the devil once dragged down. Then one evening riders came, calling out his outlaw name. Whole town frozen in fear and doubt as the ghost he fled finally tracked him down. He was a preacher and a gunman standing in the churchyard rain. Said, I ain't proud of who I was, but that man died in shame. Then he laid his pistol in the dirt beneath the fading light, and the town saw redemption standing there that cold and stormy night. Sun drops low on the western plains, painting heaven across the grain. One old cowboy leans on the fence, listening to the wind roll in. Hands worn down from a lifetime's work, boots full of dust and a faded shirt. But these fields still know his name after all these passing days. When the prairie turns gold and the evening sky burns slow, I see every mile behind me in the shadows of the road. All the love and all the heartbreak, every story left untold, comes alive again each sunset. When the prairie turns gold. I was just a reckless boy back then, dreaming bigger than this land could give. Thought freedom meant riding away not staying strong through the pain. Then came children and harder years, droughts and storms and silent tears. But somehow this old broken land kept teaching me who I am. Now the prairie turns gold, like the memories in my soul, and every fence post standing tall feels like part of home. I buried friends beneath these skies, watched young love grow old, and every sunset tells my story when the prairie turns gold. Tonight the grandkids laugh out near the barn, same way we did before life got hard. And for a moment time stands still, like this old world always will. When the prairie turns gold and my final day arrives, don't cry long beside my grave. I lived a good hard life. Just lay my hat beside me where the tall grass softly blows, and let my spirit ride forever where the prairie turns gold.